Hey everybody, welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. Man, this is a tough one. I put off this report just because I wanted to gather more information and really show some respect. I actually spent the whole weekend watching Chadwick Boseman movies because I'll be honest, I hadn't seen them. I didn't think I needed to right away. I was sort of saving them. And this weekend I really delved in to sort of respect this man. The more I've learned about him, the more I'm just saddened by not only not seeing his work sooner, but not really understanding what he was going through, but also just what an amazing actor and person he was. So I wanted to take a moment and I brought in Lewis. Hey, Lewis, you're here too.
What's up, Andy?
I wanted to bring you in because I want to talk about this man. I know a lot of people are talking about him, and I think they're going to be talking about him for a long time, and I think he deserves to be talked about because, look, I'll be honest, I didn't put him in the league of some of these other legends and things because I didn't watch the work. And I just, I saw Black Panther as sort of like, it's an important, fun, good, big movie. But the more I've paid attention to him, the more work I've watched of him, and the more I've learned about him behind the scenes, I'm just so in awe and saddened that we lost him at such a young age. Obviously, you guys all know he passed on Friday due to stage 3 colon cancer. He had stage 3 colon cancer in 2006, but in the last 4 years, it was stage 4. As the statement said from his family, a true fighter, Chadwick preserved through it and brought many of you the films you've come to love so much, from Marshall to Five Bloods, August Wilson's Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and several more. All were filmed during and between countless surgeries and chemotherapy. It was an honor of his career to bring King T'Challa to life in Black Panther. He died in his home with his wife and family by his side. The family thanks you for their love and prayers and asks that you continue to respect their privacy during this difficult time. But Lewis, it was such a shock that day. I remember I texted you. We were all texting in disbelief. But aside from losing him at such a young age, it was this reveal that he had colon cancer for so long and had been making these films throughout that experience. It was just like, I was just gobsmacked of just like, wow, what to do that work through so much pain and challenges was just I'm still a little speechless for it all. Lewis, I know you were speechless too. What was your reaction when you heard this news?
We were all hoping, a lot of us in the film community, fans, that because he did lose a lot of weight, he looked like he lost a lot of weight before. We saw pictures of him, and we were all hoping that he was getting ready for a role and just getting really into character. And then I was watching Jody's Corner, as a matter of fact, and he announced that he was dead, and it's awful. It's an awful. I don't even know how to express this guy. He's a legend. A lot of people looked up to him. A lot of people in the communities looked up to him. And I'm lost for words, man. So young, so well spoken. So, it's scary at the same time because there's a lot of us that don't take care of ourselves, and we're like, oh man. And obviously he did take care of himself how brave that he showed up to do his work. You know what I mean? He knew his role. He knew how many kids looked up to him, how many kids with cancer looked up to him, and he never looked sick. He kept up with the superhero persona.
When we're looking at these pictures he did with St. Jude, and it's like, these are just amazing to know he did, but to know he did that while he was battling this himself, right? It's like, it's heavy. It is heavy to know, and he kept it to himself. I think that's the biggest sort of shock. And I'm going to go through some of his films, so stick around. We're gonna respect and talk about his work and everything. But I think the biggest surprise was in seeing Ryan Coogler wrote a really beautiful tribute. I'm not going to read it all. You should go check it out. But there was just a part. He shares so much love and amazing stories about working with Chad. And getting him into Black Panther. He was nominally calm, assured, constantly studying, but also kind, comforting, and the warmest laugh in the world, and eyes that seen much beyond his years, but could sparkle like a child seeing something for the first time. He goes on, such amazing stories about it, but what was really sort of shocking at the end, Chad deeply valued his privacy, and I wasn't privy to the details of his illness. After his family released their statement, I realized that he was living with his illness the entire time I knew him. Because he was a caretaker, a leader, a man of faith, dignity, and pride, he shielded his collaborators from his suffering. He lived a beautiful life. He made great art day after day, year after year. That was who he was. He was an epic firework display. I will tell stories about being there for some of the brilliant sparks till the end of my days. What an incredible mark he's left for us. I haven't grieved a loss as acute before. I spent the last year preparing, imagining, and writing words for him to say that weren't destined to be seen. It leaves me broken knowing that I won't be able to watch another close-up of him in the monitor again or walk up to ask him for another take. It hurts more to know that we can't have another conversation. He would check in on me and my loved ones even as he was dealt with the scourge of cancer. In African cultures, we often refer to loved ones that have passed as ancestors. Sometimes you are genetically related, sometimes you are not. I had the privilege of directing scenes of Chad's character T'Challa, communicating with ancestors of Wakanda. We were in Atlanta in an abandoned warehouse with blue screens and massive movie lights, but Chad's performance made it feel real. I think it's because from that time that I met him, the ancestors spoke through him. It's no secret to me how he was able to skillfully portray some of our most notable ones. I had no doubt that he would have lived on to continue to bless us with more, but it is with a heavy heart and a sense of deep gratitude to have been in his presence that I have to reckon with the fact that Chad is an ancestor now, and I know that he will watch over us until we meet again. Whew, it's rough, man. And then to add to that, you have all these kids now who are out there doing funerals for Black Panther. These broke me this weekend. I got to be honest, watching these little kids knowing, got to tell him. I had to tell my son, who hasn't seen the movie yet. He's just not a Marvel kid, but I mean, we were all very sad. And he's like, what? Black Panther died? Yeah, the actor who plays him. And it was a really sad, and to know these kids, these poor kids, I have to sort of, they understand what that is and how important this character meant to them. It sucks, man. It sucks.
I remember watching Black Panther, and my mom's not really into, I watch movies with my mom because, we're close. We're like the last remaining of our family that came here, and Black Panther is her favorite Marvel hero, maybe even hero period, because we feel like with the culture and everything like connected. But yeah, it was very shocking to tell her. I told her that he passed away, and she was like, is this a joke? Is it what? Because it's just unbelievable, man. It's unbelievable.
Well, it's unbelievable that we lost him, absolutely, and it's unbelievable that he was holding on to this while he was working. And so now to know that he was doing this, going through his filmography, I mean, he's done so much work. I don't think people realize. A lot of TV appearances and stuff. And then it wasn't really until 2013 where he scored 42 to play Jackie Robinson, which I hadn't seen. I hadn't seen it until this weekend. And I highly suggest everybody go back and check it out. It's a wonderful film. It was a film that made me really sad. It was sad because I was like, man, he's great. Because he's great in Black Panther, don't get me wrong, but I've sort of said, like, I love the supporting characters a bit more, but you realize how important he is to that movie, obviously. But when you step out and he's, doesn't have the accent and everything else, and he's playing these other roles, these historic roles, you can really see the powerhouse that he is. And his portrayal of Jackie Robinson's incredible. The movie is fantastic. Harrison Ford's in the movie, and you can tell he's trying for once. It's a really worthy movie, but I was watching because I was sad to know that we weren't going to see him again, but even more sad, I'm like, my God, this is in the 40s, and this was a thing that happened. Like, this was real, that he, like, the stuff Jackie Robinson had to be put through, and I'm so glad he got to help tell that story so vividly and beautifully, because it's a terrible story, and why we're in sort of the movement we are now. It's people are still upset that was a thing, that whites only bathrooms were a thing still, and after segregation, so as it was happening, and so it's a wonderful film. Check out 43. But that was really when things took off. And I want to show some respect to go through some of these films. And then Draft Day was another one that I remember seeing. And I forgot he was in it, to be honest, because I didn't know of him at that point as well. But it's a Kevin Costner film. He's a standout in that movie. I remember it well. It's about an NFL Draft Day, and Kevin Costner's debating which pick, and he has sort of a troubled past. But he's not the most, he's not the one that everyone wants, but Kevin Costner believes he's the best player, but everyone thinks he has an attitude. And so he gets to play sort of this troubled football star, and it's a really good supporting role that was, I remember, but I didn't put it all together until Black Panther, who he was. And then Get On Up. My God, guys, his James Brown movie is incredible. It's now on HBO Max. I watched that this weekend as well. Highly recommended. It's it zaps through his life, young through middle age to older. the troubles and all. And at first I was like, this is gonna be hard for him to pull off, but he does it, man. He runs through from young to an old man, pompadour and all. It's an incredible, and his moves are incredible. While he doesn't do all the singing in the movie, it's James Brown doing a bulk of it. There is some moments where you can tell Chadwick did sing as well. He could sing, but man, it's a tour de force that and a really interesting movie to respect in James Brown's legacy that Chadwick performs brilliantly. So it's another one I recommend. And then, before he landed Civil War, we can't forget Toth, Lewis. He was
I didn't see that one.
He was in Gods of Egypt, which a stupid, silly movie, but he was a fun part. He got to play this multiple character role, the God of Wisdom, and I actually enjoyed his presence and part in this movie. It's a fun little CGI trickery, but he had a real big background, like in Egyptian hieroglyphic stuff when you go back to his college days. So you could just tell he was having fun playing this character and getting to be in this sort of era. But as for such a silly, dumb movie, he was a standout. You do remember that one?
I do remember it, but I didn't. I didn't recall like him being in it because he looks different. He looks like a little kid there.
Yeah, there's hundreds of them, but it's a worthy just for him. I would say it's worthy of the rewatch. But then things changed. Obviously, the announcement of Civil War happened, and then in 2016, these two titans invited him to the Avengers, and that had to be in a moment. But it was at this point. It was Get On Up. No, it wasn't. It was It was Civil War and above. All these movies that he's now preparing to do, he had gotten the diagnosis, and that's what's just incredible. So Marshall, I hadn't seen Marshall. Marshall, a fantastic film about Thurgood Marshall. Josh Gad had been posting some amazing stuff about it, and I didn't realize he was even in this, but he is. It's a sort of a buddy lawyer movie as they're trying to fight for the rights of Sterling K. Brown's character. True story. Hard to spoil history, but really, really amazing performance, amazing film, worthy of checking out by far. Marshall, another movie that put him on the radar of sort of acting. And then Black Panther came around, and that's when everyone obviously took even more notice. And I got Lewis. I've said it. He was not my favorite part of the movie just because I thought there were so many other amazing supporting characters. But in rewatching the film, my God. And now with everything we know, it's just like, and how important this character is. I look at it with new eyes and realize he was doing an amazing thing. He helped to build the dialect and so many choices he was making, as you learn, and we'll learn more as people sort of reveal how instrumental he was to this role. But thoughts on Black Panther? I know that's one you enjoy too.
Yeah, well, actually, Civil War as well, because although he wasn't he didn't have a major role in the film, but he had some memorable lines like "I'm Hawkeye, I don't care." So like stuff like that, and his fighting and stuff. And I remember I did the Blu-ray junket for that, and I got to like play Black Panther for a while because I was with his stunt coordinator. But just a little side note there. But every time he was on screen, he stole the show, in my opinion, with Marvel. For example, there's a video going around of crowd reaction during Endgame, of when the portals open and the first hero you see is Black Panther, and the crowd goes
wild,
ballistic. Even at the press screenings where everyone's like kind of like bitter and upset, and how the press is and hate life, they cheer their ass off during that scene. And those are the greatest moments are provided by Black Panther. And that's why I feel, not that it matters right now to anyone, that's why you see that maybe Marvel's in a funk, because he was the heart, I believe, a big part of the series.
Yeah, and then so I was gonna get there, but yeah, we after we had Black Panther, he did then jump into 21. Well, he did an Endgame and Infinity War, which we just mentioned, but he also did 21 Bridges, which was I watched last night as well, and it's fine. He gives a good performance. It's like a thriller leading man role, trying to like catch the criminals and shutting down New York City. A lot of really great action, but I liked his performance. Is it like the standout of his filmography? No, but it's a respectful, solid film that I do recommend you check out, and shows just sort of he could have made these in his sleep. These are just really great stories and shows he can lead a movie. That's not the historical kind, but just an exciting film. 21 Bridges proved that he had it in him. And then The Five Bloods, he was one of my favorite parts. Delroy Lindo, amazing. I did finally finish that film too. I don't love the film, but I do love his performance. Him and Delroy Lindo have the most touching part about it, and he's in sort of in the flashbacks of the film, and he's by far a standout, and I'm sure it was amazing for him to work with Spike Lee in that project. And then Endgame, as you said, that really was the sort of moment again where I was just going to bring it up, but yeah, that scene where he shows up is just one that has, it was the on your left, and then exactly, we see him walk out from Wakanda, they're back, they're alive. That showdown is incredible. It just shows the importance of that character, which again, that was a course of a year, right? That over the year that film came out and then blew up, and then comes back for Endgame, and people are. They weren't as excited for Captain Marvel, is all I'm just saying. Black Panther obviously was one that stood up and really made audiences go nuts for. And it's sad to know that what's going to happen with, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on Marvel Black Panther 2. It's not our place right now. I think we got to focus on other things, but I think you're right. It's going to be a tough conversation for them to figure out when the time is right. But I don't think the time's right anytime soon for anybody to be even, speculating or guessing, because look, we got to respect this man. We got to respect his family, and we got to focus on what he, I think we also really, if anything, I hope he can save some lives in raising awareness for colon cancer, which is something that's completely preventable if you 100%. Guys get checked. And it's something my girl and I was like, I'm going to do it. I just turned 41, and I should have already. Everyone should. We shouldn't be afraid of that. I think men are, and I think if anything, he can help brings an open eyes to that horrible cancer that is preventable if you check it and get tested. You can do it. It's not as painful as people try to allude. It's a weird thing, right? A lot of guys don't want to do it, but you got to do it. And to know, like you said, to know that someone like Chadwick Boseman, so in shape and athletic and amazing, you'd think could live forever, can be taken down by that is so sad and just tragic. So colon cancer is no joke, people. Get checked often, and I hope we can, if anything, he can inspire some lives to be saved in that regard too, of being checked more often and earlier in life, especially in the African American community where it's the numbers are higher. So do your due diligence on then men who are watching, especially getting to the 40-year-old age, which I know I have some in my audience. Don't keep putting that off. Take that seriously. And then, there's a clip here I want to sort of end on, where he talks about going to the kids. But Lewis, other thoughts on this? We will eventually have to speculate about what Marvel does. I don't want to do it now. But talking about what he did give us already and where his legacy will go. Were you like me, like sort of didn't really take him as seriously as maybe we should have, or did you notice it before I even did?
No, I knew he was something special because the way he carried himself. Unfortunately I didn't have a chance to watch his other films. It's a time thing, but I knew because I saw him at an event where they did the handprint ceremony for Stan Lee. He did a speech with no teleprompter, honoring Stan Lee, and the way he carried himself was like epic, man. And he said something, because like I know a lot of people say that sometimes we comics aren't important. Why do we talk about comics when there's so many things going on in the world? He did say something interesting honoring Stan Lee, was that Stan Lee wrote comics and it helps kids and people get through cancer. During this time he had it and he knew it, so leads me to believe that the escapism that comic books provided may have helped him through difficult times. So that's just something to think about, which is kind of cool.
Well, and it perfectly cues up this last clip I want to share of just him getting emotional, talking about what Black Panther meant for the kids, because I think there's a lot of people out there. Look, I took the movie seriously, and I enjoyed his performance, and I respected him, but I guess I didn't understand. I didn't see a lot of it. I just didn't do the homework, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I did this weekend, and I was just shocked by how good and how much of a presence he was outside of that movie. Like, he really was such an incredibly smart, well-spoken, charitable individual, and more stories keep coming out revealing that. And so, yeah, it's crushing loss to everybody, and I understand why people are sad and will be for a while. And I think this is one of those tragic losses that we do need to talk about. I'm glad people are. But this clip right here, this clip is the one that sort of got to me of just like seeing. You watch this and you hear the importance of what Black Panther is, because a lot of people will write it off. Whatever, it's a comic book movie, it's a superhero movie, but no, this one what meant a lot for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So here, let's end on Chadwick's words here.
You know, they're two little kids, Ian and Taylor, who recently passed from cancer. And throughout our filming, I was communicating with them, knowing that they were both terminal. And what they said to me is, and their parents said, they're trying to hold on till this movie comes. And to a certain degree, you hear them say that and you're like, wow, that's like, I gotta get up and go to the gym. I gotta get up and go to work. You know, I gotta learn these lines. I gotta work on this accent. You know, seeing how devoted all of my castmates are, and knowing that will be something meaningful to them. But it's, to a certain degree, it's a humbling experience, because you're like, this can't mean that much to them, you know. But seeing how the world has taken us on, seeing how the movement, how it's taken on a life of its own, I realized that they anticipated something great. And I think back now to a kid and just, you know, waiting for Christmas to come, waiting for my birthday to come, waiting for a toy that I was going to get a chance to experience, or a video game. I did live life waiting for those moments. And so it put me back in the mind of being a kid, just to experience those two little boys' anticipation of this movie. And when I found out that they
take your time with it.
Yeah, it means a lot.
To know he had it,
Yes,
Lewis.
it means a lot.
To know that he had
For
it
me,
during
I would
that
say,
speech just wrecks me.
Yeah.
And to know he was what he you know, he understood the importance of that film for so many kids, and knew that he was battling the same battle that those kids were. Ooh. It's rough, man. And
It's heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking, and I respect this guy so much, and I highly implore all of you guys to go respect him this next weekend. Watch his films. He made films that were important stories that need to be remembered, not just his legacy. Jackie Robinson's legend, Thurgood Marshall. These are important people. Even James Brown, what a legend to go through. He brought to life some amazing performances that you need to go check out, support, and remember this man. Black Panther obviously is the one we're all going to always talk about, Wakanda forever, but Chadwick Boseman was an actor, an amazing charitable gentleman, and I will always remember him now. I don't see how we can forget him, and I can't speak enough of just, you know, don't ever assume you know about somebody, right? I mean, that's the amazing thing here of just like, life is short. Everybody's going through something, and you never, ever know what they're going through.
Maybe reach out to that person you had a stupid argument with and say hello.
Yep.
And research the disease and try to prevent it on yourself, and maybe help some charities that go to the actual cause. Research. I'm not saying blindly donate to charities, but make sure they go 100% to research and you know, honor his legacy. And
but
I'm hoping I could be half as brave as he is. If God forbid anything like that would happen to me, I don't think I could be half as brave as him.
I mean, right? The amount of strength this man had it just floors me. And that's why I think we need to remember him, and that's why this tribute, we need to share in our tributes. And use this story to remember and remind yourselves of, you never know what somebody's going through. And not everyone can be as strong as Chadwick Boseman. And some people are going to be jerks, whatever. They're going to troll you. They're going to, try to attack you. They're going to, whatever. Just try to offer some genuine peace, some kindness in the world like he did. I think the more we can be kind to each other, respect each other, the further along we'll all get, the happier we'll all be. And it's a sad day to lose Chadwick Boseman. My thoughts go out to his entire family, his friends, and all the fans out there that are mourning with us. Rest in power. And thank you for all the work you did. That's all I got on this. Lewis, any final thoughts?
Not only Wakanda forever, but Boseman forever. And now, hopefully, I believe in my heart, he's reunited with all the legends he portrayed, and they're smiling at him, saying, "Hey, man, thanks. That was a great job," and stuff like that. So, and hopefully, the family we've lost as well, because I've lost people to that disease as well. Hopefully, they're all hanging out somewhere, reunited.
One can hope, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep the conversation going down below. Please talk about your favorite Chadwick Boseman performance, story, things you've heard, amazing things he's done. Let's share the love and the tribute going. You can comment down below and keep the conversation going. Thank you guys so much for the support and watching here. That's all we got.